Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host Chip. What's going on, Chip? What's going on, everybody out there in the On the Chain community, On the Chain world, crypto world? I'll tell you what, XRP's historic Q4. We're going to go over that. We're going to talk about the RLUSD boom. What does that mean exactly? What's that doing for crypto? What's that doing for XRP? What's that doing for normalcy in the space? Maybe replacing USDT and some of those others that aren't approved through the European Union. $1
Tether.
billion in trading and an ETP explosion also coming soon to a theater near you. Grayscale is working on ETF for XRP, as are a number of others.
It's exciting times, man. Exciting times. We're in happy February. February 1 today.
Oh my God. It is February.
Holy cow, how did that happen? We're already 1 month down in 2025. We're 2 weeks into the Trump presidency, and there's just so much winning. Let's go.
Welcome to On the Chain.
Welcome, everybody. Drop where you are coming in from. We had some early birds in here fairly early, and I think Brian Wolf the first one in? No, he wasn't the first one in. We had PB29, our Slovakian ground correspondent there, holding down the fort there. And then, of course, we had Brian Wolf came in from Colorado. That was good to see.
It's cold over there.
Yeah. We got the UK King Cotterill. He's been an OG in the space for a long time. Early supporter of the show. What's going on? Good to see you, man.
And then we got the king. The king is back to the king. No Yeti in the profile, but getting ready for the drawing later in the show with a big Yeti shout out.
He's back to the king.
Back to the king. Man, we got Australia. Oh, look at that. Look how fast that happened. Hey.
Wait,
back to the little prowler.
Something weird. Something weird is going on because it's not collecting names. I see one in there. Okay, I see it now. There's two. Got it. We're good. We're good to go.
Now they're gathering.
Now it's going on. Damn, that was fast. It'll switch it just for the show and then go back. I like that.
That's cool.
I don't even know where I was looking for it the other day. I don't even know where it is. I tried really hard to try to figure out where it is. It's not like you just click on your image and just change it. You got to go to some other.
You got to dig deep.
You got Akron, Ohio in there. I love that.
All the cold places.
Good morning, all from Australia. Good day, mate. Good to see you, John Page. Love our Aussies. We're going to be there again this year, Jeff.
We will be.
Get some people.
Mark Smithson tuning in from Detroit.
Mm-hmm. He's over there on DeQuinder hanging out. Passing out some one pagers for the show.
That's right.
Caroline's here. Look at Caroline's here. We can start now. Good morning, gents. We're both good. We're happy February, Caroline. It's
with a lemon.
It's already evening for you. I should say good evening. We got Bradelton, Florida. So many people are from Florida. By the way, we will be. It's at least I know for sure that I will be at the. There's an upcoming summit happening in March that Jeff and I are going to be there. It's a 2-day summit, and it's going to be a fabulous time. Jeff and I are going to do a little bit of MC in there, but more importantly, it's going to be. We'll release some details about it, but in the coming week. But we will. It's going to be a great time, and there's so many of you from Florida. If you guys want to come down for that, we'd love to have you guys there. I'd love to meet. We love to meet people in person. We've had some of the most fun interactions when Jeff and I get together with people from the community. Sometimes it's just me, sometimes it's just Jeff, but we'll both be there, so it'll be great.
That's right.
Higher ratings in the Super Bowl. Well, I won't be watching. Let's put it that way. I don't care. I really don't care. I really don't. It's not like I'm going to say I hope the Eagles win. I just don't care. I just don't care. After all the bad calls these last weeks, I mean, we have technology in tennis. You can see exactly the ball, the replay, exactly where it hit on the line, but refs decide games. Guys clearly almost a yard over the line, and oh no, let's move it back. Let's do it again. Let's move it back. We can't have humans determining outcomes of games. Let's let technology determine outcomes. So don't
Thank
get me
you,
started on
and
that.
good night. Thank you.
Don't get me
and
started.
Good
Too early
night.
for the rant.
Thank you.
All right, Jeff, enough of that. Thank you and
That's
good night.
stuck in
Thank
the
you
loop.
and good night. Thank you and good night. Thank you. It's just too
Got
much.
stuck in the loop.
Yeah, you know what happens, guys, is like on our soundboard, it defaults to loop. So you click it thinking it's going to play once and it just keeps going, which is kind of a weird thing there. But so look at this here. Garlinghouse put this out. So he was talking about there's this new Q4 Ripple market reports that comes out every quarter. And so he commented on that saying, suffice to say the Q4 2024 was absolutely one for the XRP history books. 5 different firms filed for XRP related ETPs in the US, plus 4 more this month. Dude, that's a lot. You have 9 total.
Crushing it.
Thinking they're all going to improve, but this is not the Gary Gensler. We're not in the era of Gary Gensler anymore. So can you imagine 9 different related ETPs, ETFs, some crazy stuff is going on. And then we've got the RLUSD, which Jeff and I are going to get into a little bit, but that launched, right? That happened. They just talked about it last July, I think it was June, July period when they introduced it. And it's hitting 100 million market cap within a month. Pretty solid. And that thing's going to rocket in 2025. And on-chain XRPL decentralized exchange trading volume reached 1 billion in Q4. So this is what's interesting, Jeff. Is like the DEX on the XRPL really for a while was pretty quiet, but it's the first decentralized exchange ever. Nobody even knew what a decentralized exchange was. The first one ever, and that's pretty solid volume. 1 billion. Whoa. A lot of that has to do probably with the increase in the XRP as well, but still pretty interesting. What do you think? I mean, this is a lot of news. Like it seems like it's nothing, but there's a lot going on. Especially, what do you think about this, Jeff?
I think everything is gearing up. They're getting ready, to make a big transition within the financial institutions. I think we're going to see some big moves from the U.S. government in regards to the Fed. I think we're going to start seeing some big moves regarding tax policy. We're also going to see some big moves regarding crypto policy. Everything's happening at the same time. You got to have everything in place. If the ground game or the ground isn't tilled properly, you didn't build the right structure or foundation for the structure, then how do you make everything else happen? So I think they're prepping. We've seen it being built over time. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of toes being dipped in the water for a long period of time, and now it's all coming to fruition. So the ETPs, I think, are definitely a major push in the right direction. If you look at what Grayscale has been doing, so you have the Grayscale XRP Trust. They recently filed with the SEC to have that become an official ETF. So they want to move from trust to ETF. And the XRP Trust right now, per share on Grayscale, is trading at, as of yesterday close, $59.79. So it's pushing high. We saw some interesting moves with Grayscale Trust when they launched Bitcoin and Ethereum Trust. They already had the GBTC ETF, and then they had 2 trusts behind it. And it was as they launched that BTC Trust, it came in at like, $4 and something, $5 and something, whatever it was at. Then it did a 10-for-1 reverse split up and increased the price point. So it went from 4 to like 40 up, and now it's trading up, in more. It was definitely a good move on their part, but there's so much momentum and interest in these ETPs across the board. It's not just Grayscale, obviously.
Yeah. Well, you got a really great question here from Thomas Brennan. He's saying, what do you guys think the ETFs will really move the price of XRP? With Bitcoin, it didn't seem to move the price much. Your thoughts on that as he takes a sip of coffee?
Gives you a chance to think. That's a great point. We've seen the price of XRP scale in the past couple months since the election, right? We're November timeframe, we're sitting at 50 cents. Now it's sitting, circa like, 3. It just went under 3. Yesterday, I think it was sitting at 299. But overall, you think about there's a lot of people investing, institutions, individual investors, 401ks, retirement accounts, all these people that want to get in don't have disposable income to get in, on the side to invest, but they have money sitting in investment accounts. They would love to put into ETFs.
Mm-hmm.
Going to do is get more people involved in investing within the crypto space. We're already seeing a massive push on the Bitcoin side, which also maintains additional identification recognition of the product, of the crypto product, but then gets more people involved. So more people involved is more asset purchased and held. Obviously, there's going to be some buying and selling of the ETF. So then if we look at where it's going to go, I think overall it's going to create more stability, more serious recognition, and it's moving it away from, just some people being able to invest to everybody being able to invest. That makes a big difference. How that impacts the price point, that's still, based on investor appetite at this point.
That's a good point. Brian Wilson, do you think that Ripple will take the place of the Fed? Is it possible? I don't think it's possible because of Trump. Because first of all, in the United States, we've had 3 central banks. The Federal Reserve is a third party, unverified, unaudited entity that nobody even really knows who's part of it. Okay, so the founders and framers of the United States stated they weren't interested in any sort of centralized banks. They didn't want that. They wanted sovereign currency, and Congress basically delegated all its authority to some third party. This is everything but freedom, and this is why the Federal Reserve just does what it wants to do. It's not regulated by anyone. The president has no control over it. The only one that can change it is Congress, and Congress is the one to change it. But the problem with, it came into fruition in 1913 under, some shady circumstances, and then right then we had tariffs which were funding the United States. There was no such thing as an income tax, and after 1913 they formed. That's when the IRS came out of that. And originally, Jeff, it was 10%, and it was only going to be the rich people. Haven't we heard that story before? Don't worry, it's only going to be on the rich. We're going to tax the rich, and it's only going to be 10%. Then what they did was they moved the tariffs down to 40%. They had them, it was funding it, all of it. So then they moved the tariffs down to 40% because now they were going to penalize the citizens, but not everybody. Oh no, just the rich. And today, everybody pays. Everybody pays. And now we're talking about tax cuts. What Trump wants to do is eliminate IRS altogether. Now, if that's going away, the only way you can have what Trump calls this jubilee or these new days, the only way to do that is you have to have a sovereign currency. And what will happen is if Trump gets rid of the Federal Reserve, happy days will be here again. Because, first of all, getting rid of the IRS and income tax will take so much money and flood it back into the economy. Things will go ballistic. Imagine people, and the people that will affect the most will be across the board, right? Depending, it doesn't matter how much you're paying, but it will be just extra money across the board. And then the Federal Reserve itself. And the reason I don't think somebody like a Ripple can become the Fed, because we don't want a third party. I don't care who it is. We don't want a centralized third party. The way to do this in a sovereign currency is probably something digital, something probably blockchain based, that's a true sovereign currency that's issued by the United States government, not some third party, independent firm. And what will happen there is it will collapse the central banks around the world. Why do you think there's so much opposition to Trump? The opposition to Trump is he's coming in and changing things. I mean, the first week, he was already hitting like 50% of the things he promised, right? He's also draining the swamp. We got some good examples of that. He wanted to drain the swamp because what happens in every country is the people that you elect to go represent you end up don't representing you because of everything's run internally by unelected bureaucrats. Jeff and I harp on this all the time, this unelected bureaucrat thing. So no, it's not possible. And especially not possible with Trump, nor do we want something like that. Now, what is possible, you have Cynthia Lummis, a senator in the U.S. Senate, who is vying for a big strategic Bitcoin reserve because she's a Bitcoin maxi and is dumber than a box of rocks when it comes to understanding the digital landscape. If you remember, her and Klobuchar were in an interview, Jeff, and they were talking about how much they thought Gary Gensler was doing a good job. This is not the person you want heading up anything digitally related in the Senate. Okay, she's on my shit list, and she's quickly becoming the Elizabeth Warren in the Republican Party, because somebody that laser focuses on just one digital asset, that's not the big picture. That's not scalable. And so this is why the Bitcoin maxis were upset, because when Trump put the executive order out there, he said in there, it didn't say the Bitcoin reserve. It said a strategic digital asset. I don't even know if the word was reserve, but it's going to be a basket. And why wouldn't it be? My God, when we invest in the stock market, you don't just go like, I'm going all in on one. No, we diversify. There's nobody out there that wouldn't say diversification is bad. So why would the U.S. government not diversify? But here's what could happen. I was thinking about this morning, by the way, Jeff. And I want to get your thoughts on this. Now, when Ripple sells to institutional investors, they don't sell at the price. They sell under the price, right? Mm-hmm. So let's suppose, XRP is trading at $3, but let's say the U.S. government wanted to buy, I don't know, 15 billion XRP, 20 billion XRP. Are they going to pay $3? They're not. They're not going to pay the spot price. They're going to pay under that. All institutional buy less than, right? Now, I don't know, significantly less than. So what are the chances of XRP going to 15, 20, 30, 40, $50, right? You're talking about a big increase. Now, let's look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's trading right around 100,000, but let's see that goes up 10x. One Bitcoin's worth 1 million. That's 10x. The possibility for a basket of currencies like a Cardano, like an XRP, like an XLM, what you name it, even if we look at the top 10, the chances of that more than 10xing are very favorable, right? And in the best interest of any investor, let alone the U.S. government. So that's my thought, Jeff. I just think that they could really purchase a lot. And if it doubles, triples, quadruples, 10, 15, 20, 100 X's, it's all possible within the next 5 years to 10 years, right?
Yeah. I mean, you have to, look at what MicroStrategy has done and some of the other companies. Michael Saylor led the way in this identification of adding Bitcoin to a company's treasury. You look at Bukele in El Salvador, added Bitcoin to his national treasury as a strategic reserve. And there should be no difference. If you think from the U.S. perspective, we have to change our view overall on what should go into a reserve. Should it be strictly dollars? Should it be, strictly gold? Should gold back everything? Or should it be a basket of product that creates a balance, right? So if there's ever an issue, we're across the board balancing and touching different aspects of society. And so from a crypto perspective, which is identified, cryptocurrency is obviously important on a global scale. It's recognized on a global scale as a currency. It's moving us in a direction of transparency and efficiency. You can't get rid of the dollar because that maintains sovereignty. You have to change the way the dollar is held, how the dollar is viewed, who controls the dollar, as you'd mentioned, creating a monetary system that's propped up by a third party entity that nobody understands how or why is problematic. And that's where, Trump is addressing those factors. You can't print your currency into oblivion and have it not backed up by anything other than a promissory note, which is basically all it is, which is then backed up by our military power and everything else and productivity. But if we have a massive oil production, oil reserve, gold reserve, which would be precious metals, let's put more things into that crypto reserve, which can't just be Bitcoin. It has to be Bitcoin, it has to be XRP, it has to be other assets, it has to be a basket. And the smart people will figure out how to leverage the assets based on valuation and quantities. And then that way they have an impact on a global scale and try to leverage it so that we have more of it. So we maintain more power and more value. That's the reserve. So little by little, they got to figure that part out. And then it puts us in a strength position. Now, if you also then what Trump is is doing is then looking focused to the street, which is how do we put more of this money back into the hands of the people? How do we hold other countries accountable for what's going on? All these countries are developing, even the fascist dictatorships are developing in some way or form. It's
True.
just they're consolidating money and power to a very few number of people, and they're not letting their people prosper and benefit from it. However, we're seeing countries all over the world that are blossoming and benefiting from it. And yet, from the US perspective, we've offered, favorite nation status to many different countries that allow free trade or imbalanced trade, which gives them the benefit of sending their product to us. You look at, when you have countries that are stepping over the line and dumping product on us and then breaching all of our trademark and property rights, like China, for example, and then you still let them trade with our country and you don't levy tariffs on them when they levy tariffs on our products. You think about the trade imbalances back in the 80s and 90s with Japan. It's amazing because most people don't go back and try to figure out that this same scenario has repeated itself multiple times over. There was a book I read once. It was called The Coming War with Japan, and it was really over steel trade. And Japan had better production and cheaper production of steel, and they were creating an imbalance in our market because they were dumping steel in our market at a cheaper price point. Japan was. Japan also was bringing in vehicles and products that were more efficient than our products, cheaper than our products. And there was, concern at one point in time with Japan. And Japan was buying up real estate. They had all this money, didn't know what to do with it, and they're buying everything in big major cities. Now China's been doing that, right? Except China is they have a little bit of a different agenda. And so, when we look at the overall, we can't allow these countries to continuously take advantage of us while we're consuming all their products, and then we're not leveraging it. So and I look at what Trump is going to do, and this factors in. You have to look at all of these things. No one thing is in a vacuum. It's not just the ETFs, not just the global strategic or the currency strategic reserves. It's all of these things. So now if Trump can then minimize taxation on the people, why are we penalizing our own people? Why are we making it impossible for people to survive in our own society? And they talk about minimum wage, and you have to keep increasing minimum wage, which increases the cost of goods. The products will keep going up. Everything keeps going up. Inflation will keep skyrocketing. If you keep buying stuff from overseas and you don't produce it yourselves, the price is going to keep going up. You'll never we created a vacuum in our country. And it was one thing I learned back in economics in undergrad even, and it was the donut theory. It's like you have different layers of production. It all starts in manufacturing, and you end up getting out into the service industry. The US has become a service-oriented society and got rid of manufacturing. And then eventually the whole society collapses in on itself, because if you don't have a base of manufacturing where you're producing a product, and Elon Musk just had something, he said money has no value. It's the product, goods, and services that you supply all together that have the value, right? And it's products. You have to make product. And so, you have to allow that to happen in this country. You have to allow people to benefit from it. You have to allow people to have opportunities to work and spend their money. You want people to inject money back into the economy. There's all these factors, but you tax people to oblivion, and they have no means of production. They have no means of spending. They're living paycheck to paycheck. They're just doing the basics. They're not consuming product. They're not putting money to product produced in the US. Everyone's looking externally for ways to make stuff cheaper over in China. Meanwhile, you have countries, they're taking advantage of us. So levy tariffs on them, 25%, 50%, 100%.
They tariff us. We can't sell our vehicles in Europe.
They tariff us all the time.
China.
All the time. Why is our vehicle sales relatively low as a comparative? Even in Japan, they did that. Part of it was the stupidity of our manufacturers here, where they tried shipping left-hand drive vehicles to Japan and wonder why they didn't buy them, while they drive on their right-hand drive vehicles over there.
Pop quiz: does your family drive American vehicles?
We do, yes.
Okay. Unfortunately, my family drives Japanese vehicles, so There you are. I drive.
These vehicles are made in the U.S.
They are. They're made.
Toyota
Yeah.
and Honda are made in the
My
U.S.
car was made in North Carolina or South Carolina, I think. Yeah. My vehicles, so is my wife's, both made in the US. And that's kind of the difference. And that's what Trump's looking to change. Look at this. So Matt's saying, when's the Super Bowl? It's next Sunday. I don't watch because I don't care. Most people won't. A lot of people are boycotting. Oh, look at that. Philadelphia's already been penalized for pass interference. Look at that. Geez, Jeff, that seems a little bit early. I can't believe that's happened. Oh, and I wanted to show this. Look at Kane. He's on it. He's like, well, seeing as you called me an OG, I work
There
out
you
how to
go.
get my Yeti in my profile. Do you see what Yeti he's got?
Look at that, man. An elder.
He's got an elder. You got one of the 7 elders. There's only 7 of those, dude. That is rare. So he has an elder. That is badass right there. Congrats.
Man.
An OG deserves to have an elder for sure, no doubt. So there's some other chatter here going on, but we'll get to it in a little bit. The king says powder eggs is the next cocaine. I was like, okay.
You're saying here, boil your eggs, sliced into 4, $25 a bite. You're welcome.
There you go. Pretty simple. That's how it works. So just some high points of the crypto, the Q4 XRP market reports. So 280% price movement, right? Regulatory uncertainty faded, XRP demand soared, policy shift, US shifts toward a regulatory clarity in banking and in crypto. And here's something I'm not going to look at this whole report, but I just want to just capitalize on this one thing, this one paragraph. The final quarter of 2024 is a turning point for the crypto market, sparking optimism for a new era of growth for the industry, specifically in the US, following President Donald Trump's victory. Markets focused on how the Federal Reserve would navigate interest rate cuts, wary of triggering inflation. So there you go. I mean, what a different era we are from a year ago. You know, from the Q4 of 2023. It's remarkably, absolutely 100% different. This is something we wanted to break down. I thought this was a pretty good summarization. This is Austin King. He's a former Rippler. He sold one of his companies to Ripple early on. He's also the co-founder of Omni, FDN. So he's an ex-Rippler. I think he left recently, but he kind of put some thought leadership around this. He's like, most people don't understand the impact of the Ripple USD will have on the XRP ledger. If you think it's just about a stable coin, you're missing the scale of this opportunity by 1,000 times. And here's the actual strategy that Ripple's pursuing and the impact it will have on XRP. Ripple USD daily volumes are already exceeding $300 million. Additionally, dozens of teams are working with Omni to integrate the Ripple USD into their products. And while that's all exciting, it's really just the tip of the iceberg. So this week, Ondo Finance announced that they will be launching tokenized treasury bills in the XRP ledger. Now, so if you've been following me, you might have seen this coming. Now we're starting to see the next stage of Ripple's actual strategy. So Ondo and Ripple together. Step 1, prove out tokenization technology by launching Ripple USD. Step 2, begin expanding with low-risk tokenized assets like treasury bills in the low trillions. And then step 3, tokenized debt and equities. That's tens of trillions of dollars. Step 4, tokenized derivatives and beyond, hundreds of trillions. And I'm going to add step 5, live a good life. Retire and live a good life. Just do whatever the hell you want. So this is what's really going on. This surpasses any. This is not like Bitcoin Maxi is a banker's coin. This has nothing. This right here, this kind of strategy, you're tens of trillions, hundreds of trillions. It's insane the potential, and there's going to be a room for a lot of different people, Jeff.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I mean, you look at the technology, you look at the power of it. Once we get into tokenized asset and even, tokenized, like they're looking at treasury bills, the concept of this tokenization, we haven't even scratched the surface of it yet, right?
No.
You tokenize real estate. Great. How simple is it then to move and sell your share of that real estate? It should be super easy at that point. If I'm tokenizing it and I own 1/100th of a apartment complex, I should be able to go onto the exchange, and I should be able to list it, right? I should put it out there just like I'm trading any other fund. If I'm selling XRP or if I'm selling this XRPL backed or facilitated tokenized asset, And so now all of a sudden I'm selling my 100th of this real estate, and it just transacts and someone else buys it. And that I'm the net benefactor of it. But what's interesting based off of that is the automation. So as you're holding that tokenized asset and there's gains, they're paying you profits from the overall gain holdings. Maybe it's quarterly or annually, and if it's treasury bills, or it's going to change the fabric of how we function within society. It's cutting out so many middle people, which is amazing, because think about how many things within society have multiple hands touching them. I know within my business on its own, there's multiple layers, and there's multiple people making money off of the process as it goes through. Now, if I could cut out some of them, in our industry, a little bit difficult to cut out some of that. But if you look at, if you can cut out the legal aspect of it, if you can simplify, create transparency from a payment processing, that would be an immediate. If I can cut out all the fat in the middle of a payment transaction, just gone, right? Bank leasing, financing. Why do we need a person involved in it? Right? Here, put your stuff in, let the AI tell you what it needs. Everything goes into you have these auditors or whatever within banking that are looking at people's paperwork, and for the most part everything is just very rigid and automated by them anyways, right? And so if you can figure out and say, there's certain mechanisms to just, here you go, just go through this process. I don't want to talk to anyone. I want to get someone approved for financing. I want them to buy something. I want the whole process to be transparent. I want it to be fast. If we're working in this space, we haven't even seen the direction that this is going to go, how simple things can happen. And again, all these people that are going to be cut out. I think there's a lot of redundancies built into our economy that don't need to be there. In some cases, we need people. I don't want everything to be sterile either. Business is based on relationship. It's based on, long-term relationships and human interaction, but if we can get all the noise and we get rid of the noise, then we go back to human interaction, which is the way it should be. And that's I think where we're going to get to with a lot of this stuff. That's what it's going to be. You're muted.
I had to clear my throat. It's super exciting where we are right now. Ripple's going to bring trillions from traditional finance onto XRP. Omni is going to expand those trillions across the rest of the on-chain financial system. Because one of the things that Austin King, he was in this interview, he was talking about, here, this is him here. I actually have the video I can pull up in a second. But he's like, this will cement XRP at the center of the entire on-chain economy. What is that? What does getting into trillions look like? And then I'll play that video. But a flywheel effect will take place. XRP will tokenize more assets. Omni will expand those assets across the on-chain economy, incentivizing more institutions to tokenize assets on XRP. And this is the 1000x opportunity. It's going to happen sooner than you expect. So I'll go ahead and play that video here. Let me go ahead and throw that video up there. Austin King. There we go.
Let's listen to Austin.
Other projects that you're excited about within the crypto ecosystem, Austin?
There are a ton out there. I'm really excited about stablecoins. That's one that I think is offering very concrete financial utility for people across the world. Specifically, Ripple's new stablecoin is one that I've been paying very close attention to.
What about that new stablecoin is on your radar?
Yeah, so I sold my first company to Ripple. I've been very involved with that company for a very long time now. And I think just throughout the years, they've been around since like 2013. So a decade of building relationships with existing financial companies is something that I think is super important when you're trying to drive adoption of these new technologies.
Anything else? For 2025, Austin?
For 2025, I think the growth of like real world assets, so like treasury bills on chain and tokenized securities, I think is a huge area for growth as well.
How is the incoming administration expected to impact this space?
Honestly, as an American who lives in New York City, building in this industry over the past 7 years, it's fantastic. I can see a bunch of other American builders finally excited, like we are going to get clarity from the regulatory perspective here, and that's going to unblock a lot of progress here. There's like very legitimate, valuable technology being built here.
Yeah, Jeff, we can't go on one of those shows because you see how succinct and perfect his answers were? She asked him a question, he sent an answer. Because, like, he was coached. The producer said, okay, listen, you're going to do this very small segment. You're going to ask a bunch. These are all the questions we get to. Short, concise answers. That's what you can tell he was coached. But yeah,
It
Austin
takes
King,
to that short.
he's got a lot to add to it. I mean, it's a guy that's been inside of Ripple, right? This is a guy that understands it from the inside. And also,
He's
I
a
love the
real,
fact that he's going multi-chain to bring it to XR, PL. It's just
yeah.
phenomenal. So there you go. That's what you're going to get, this flywheel type effect. People are missing the point. Share this with your friends. Help them see the bigger picture. He puts a lot of good stuff out there. He's a good dude. I like following him. Sometimes he's I've seen him get a couple things a little bit. I know he got called out for a couple things, like he was saying, like, the whole I'm not going to get into it right now, but anyway, the guy knows. He worked at Ripple. He's been there. He sold his company to Ripple. The guy knows what's up. Panos was
My middle name is Concise. Talking
just
about how we say it takes us 20 minutes to get to the concise as part of our
every show I go, I don't know if we have enough to talk about, and then about 5 minutes, and I'm like, oh, we're never going to get to it. I'm like, we're not going to get to everything we have here. There's no way. There's not possible, Jeff. How is that going to happen? Holy cow!
Kelly, there has always been division between the XRP community and the maxis, especially when XRP gets any kind of positive attention. It's true. But then there are these true believers that, or these believers that just are so passionate about XRP replacing the Fed, or XRP replacing the dollar, or the US government taking, everybody's XRP. I mean, it's such like, and we were talking about that earlier. It is interesting to me to see now the functionality, the software, the behind the scenes stuff. Can it be utilized? What is going to happen with the RLUSD? How does that get built into the functionality of trade? And what is allowed and what isn't allowed? It's gonna be great. Yeah, I just see this direction that things are moving it. As long as we don't see any interruption, things are going to happen very, very quickly. We have to have some solid bills that are passed though through Congress, and then signed into law to make these things simplified, to allow for some true, concise understanding of what crypto is in this marketplace, and we're starting to see that. We're going to get some executive order through. We're going to get more. The one glowing and very obvious is that we saw an administration previous to this that was extremely anti. They were the antagonist to the crypto market.
Everything, basically, to growth, to success.
Everything that happened in this country, you could tell, now even with illegal immigration, if you break law number 1, which is our border, don't come in here illegally. You have to wait in line. You have to do it legally. You break law number 1, and the previous administration let millions upon millions upon millions of people break the law coming in and then cover it up for them while they were here, allowed them to run rampant. So there's so many aspects of society that have to be fixed, but the lining of what we're seeing here is that we also have to have people that are willing to stand on principle, right? And so it has to happen every so often.
Shouldn't stand on clutter and mental illness,
right? But just to throw this in here at this point of our conversation is kind of important. But we all saw that Gary Gensler is named professor of some nonsense title at MIT, right? And we saw this happen. We saw this happen with with the universities that wouldn't stop supporting terrorism and things like that, or the terrorists overseas, and they were letting their mouthpiece run around campus. But here, we see the strength, not just amongst the CEOs telling universities, hey, if you allow this to fester, we're not hiring any of your people. Forget about it. None of your kids coming out of your law school are getting jobs here. So you can forget about it. Now, the same thing has happened in this case. Gary Gensler, he cost people millions and millions of dollars. He was so detrimental to the economy over the period of time that he was there. The negative impact that he had on companies and individuals, shutting down like a company like Library. We have no idea where Library would have been. What kind of impact could it have had on this marketplace and competing against a YouTube as an example? But now it's gone. Why is it gone? because of Gary Gensler. Now, you see the Winklevoss twins came out strong. And this is a big statement because you have people coming out of MIT that could probably add a lot of value to Gemini potentially, right? And what do they say? They came out and said, listen, as long as MIT has any association with Gary Gensler, Gemini will not hire any graduates from this school, not even interns, for our Summit Intern program. Now, I would like to see more companies come out like Gemini did. Obviously, the Winklevoss twins are extremely outspoken, but I would love to see more companies come out and say, hey, MIT, and they need to keep doing that and say, hey, you know what, we're going to blacklist this guy because of the damage he caused in our industry. And it needs to happen. I'm glad that they're taking a stand like that. I think it's really impressive. It's very important. And they've put the community on notice. We don't need you. And if you go to that school and, you know, you're going to be penalized as a result of the school's choice. So you might want to consider, if you're at that school, go to a different school and invest your money someplace else. And we're seeing that at Harvard, at Yale, at Columbia, and MIT. They become kind of clown schools. They're not, you know, it's such a shift in dynamics, Chip, of what we're seeing as a whole, on scale. And, you know, these companies, it's always been pay to play. Right. And I remember hearing that for years and years. I had friends that went to Harvard and they said the same thing. It's not like they said it's not that it's more difficult here. It's basically once you're in, you pay to be here, then the rest is kind of up to you. You have that degree on the wall and you can gain that little bit of leverage because you go to Harvard or Yale or elsewhere.
Right on.
You know?
We got Blockchain Trucker in the house. A legend, puts out legendary videos. You guys already have to be following him on X. But I had the pleasure of meeting him at the proper party, at the pre-party that was had up there. So it was really great meeting him. And I wouldn't mess with this dude, man. He's a big dude, man. He's a big, muscular guy. He's, you know, I don't look up to too many people, but he's a big dude, but a good guy with amazing heart and a lot of great perspective. Jeff, you're muted.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it was from the yep.
You were chatting to somebody off screen.
Yeah, I was just talking
Aaron,
about the coffee that I poisoned with the sour milk.
Jeff got a funny coffee story today.
Yeah. Someone left the fridge. So we had an event at the office last weekend. I brought a nice big half-gallon fresh, nice organic milk because on Friday people complained there was no milk. And then all the little milk things that you put in your espresso in your coffee were all bad. So I brought this nice milk. I kept it in the fridge and I brought a thing you pour it in a glass. What are those things called? And so we had that out to the side with the coffee, the pitcher. Right. Somehow the milk itself sitting in our refrigerator at the office spoiled because I brought it back home because no one uses milk at the office typically.
Yeah, and Denmark's in the house, Jeff.
And it was poisoned.
We got a ground correspondent from Denmark in the house. I love that. Correspondent letting us know what's going on, keeping us informed. I like that so much. So Zober was saying about it's all about utility. Yeah, it was really cool, man. It was really amazing to see in person, man. You know, because I watch your videos, you know, it's like, and I like when you don't hold back. That's the best part, man. There's no holding back on your videos, which is what we need in this space, right? And somebody that absolutely understands the space as well. That's also a huge, huge deal. But Zober was putting up about utility. So Christine Lagarde, who's the European Central Bank, I don't know what they call her, the chair or whatever. She runs the European Central Bank. And there was Mark Smith. So we got to get Mark Smith on the show because just for the fun. Just come in here, hang out with us, sit in. But listen to this right here. She fields a question, Christine Lagarde does, from the audience. Listen what she says here.
Completely different topic. Your Czech counterpart yesterday said that his institution will assess including Bitcoin into foreign currency reserves. And US President Trump has backed the idea of a national strategic Bitcoin reserve. What do you think about such ideas? Is that something the ECB is looking into? Thanks.
On this matter that you referred to, and whether reserves of central bank should or could include Bitcoins, I think there is a view around the table of the Governing Council, and most likely the General Council as well, that reserves have to be liquid, that reserves have to be secure, that they have to be safe, that they should not be plagued by the suspicion of money laundering or other criminal activities. And as a result, I'm confident that reserves will not enter, that bitcoins will not enter the reserves of any of the central banks of the General Council. I had a good conversation with my colleague from the Czech Republic, and I leave it to him to make whatever announcement he wants to make, but I'm confident that he's convinced, as we all are, of the necessity to have liquid, secure, and safe reserves.
Liquid, safe, secure, utility, right? There you go. So calling it out a little bit there, just saying it's not going to be part of, because the Czech Republic was going to announce that they were going to create a strategic Bitcoin reserve, something to that effect. So funny to hear a little bit of perspective from the European Central Bank head, Christine Lagarde. And here we go. This is Panos.
Let's see how long that lasts. As soon as the U.S. does it, guarantee
everyone's
the
going
ECB
to do it.
Everyone's
well, they'll do, but she has talked about a basket of currencies. She has made that like maybe it'll be 4 or 5 different ones, and it should be. Panos was saying the fee on the XRP Ripple USD is way too high. I'm very curious why most top LPs are voting for 1%. I guess it would be the lack of understanding. The standard and average fee on AMM pools in the industry is 0.3%. Most centralized exchanges have a 0.1% trading fee. So putting anything higher than 0.3% just turns traders away and decreases activity on the XRPL. If you're a top LP, because only the top 8 LPs can vote for fees in a pool, and then you care about the future of the XRP decentralized exchange, then you should definitely vote for lower fees. We need to have a competitive advantage in the ecosystem, not a predatory TradeFi-like fees. Well said. Panos always chiming in. Smart guy, knows what he's saying. And I agree with this. Like, why would you break from the industry? If AMM pool industry standard is 0.3%, why are they looking at 1%? Like, this is just basic stuff here.
Too much.
Wendy O, who has come around to XRP recently, she is now kind of turning into her. She's more of not a Bitcoin maxi, but I'd say more of an Ethereum maxi. But she's open to stuff, and she's a big supporter of Trump. I like a lot of the stuff she puts out, but she's absolutely missing the point on this. So she's commenting on this. The XRP Ledger clawback goes live in boost for Ripple USD trading. Clawback refers to tokens that have a feature allowing the issuer to reclaim tokens from user wallets under certain conditions. Right. She says the XRPL is no longer decentralized. She's completely wrong. So thank God for people like Santiago Velez that comes in and says, you are technically incorrect, the worst kind of incorrect. This is for the issue. He just called her out.
It's the worst kind of, like, you're wrong.
You're not only wrong, but you're the worst kind of wrong. I mean, this is for the issuance of specific coins or assets in need of things like chargebacks. Have you ever disputed a payment with your credit card company for a faulty product or service? This enables real-world activity like that. This doesn't give anyone the power to seize your XRP or reverse transactions. This is completely participatory for the business and individuals wanting to use that specific function to resolve disputes. This is a technical achievement in decentralized technology. And first of all, XRP has already been issued. This is like, let's suppose we wanted to issue a badass Yeti coin, right? We could say we would from the time of issuance, we would actually say that the XRP, the badass Yeti token would have this clawback feature, right? He is a legend. He's great. I repost him all the time. And that's what he's talking about. XRP, the XRPL is decentralized. You're basically turning on a feature if you want to turn the feature on, right? If you want to have that part of your thing. XRP already is issued. It's never going to affect XRP. The XRPL is decentralized. This is a feature. So he's absolutely right. Said it in the best possible way. Of course, a lot of people also. Cookie says, "I think she was being sarcastic." He goes, "Then I feel like a fool." But she's not.
Let's go back to her statement. I don't think she was being sarcastic.
I don't think she was either. She's not. She's very intelligent. She's very smart. I watched her podcast. She just, I mean, again, sometimes isn't as steeped in the ecosystem. I agree. Dumb was harsh, rude, and inappropriate. Apologize to Wendy, but you're wrong, respectively. There you go. So a lot of people, and then so Jose Fajardo says it'll be absurd. It'll be abused to claw back tokens in a wallet for political reasons. Guaranteed. Santiago's like, no, it's not compulsory.
Exactly.
It's an opt-in feature. And this is where a lot of people got the clawback. They're like, "Oh, great. So I can buy it from the exchange, they can claw it back." No, that's not what it is.
Nobody
But again,
read it.
you gotta do a little reading. Jeff,
Well,
there's a lot of
go back to what she wrote. Go back to what she wrote.
no longer decentralized. Oh, here you go.
Oh,
Here you go.
look at the only thing she put there, and this is the important part, which is clawback refers to tokens that have a feature allowing the issuer to reclaim coins from a user wallet under certain conditions. And the certain
Issuer.
then you need to outline what those conditions are, and you really have to get a good understanding of it. And I think her premise, but really that's the important part. But nobody goes in and really reads what that means. And it's not just the user, it's all users, it's both sides. It's not just, people thinking about it from a consumer's perspective, but it's also from if you're transferring, you're going to buy a good, you're buying it from a business entity or another individual or whatever it is, you built in within that are going to be clawback rights, which is,
Correct.
Chip, I've said this a million times. I would rather use a credit card than I'll never use a debit card to purchase anything. You put yourself at high risk. You should always use a credit card because of the fact that you have more rights built into the credit card from the credit card issuer, which allows you to call them up and say, "Hey, I never got my goods. Can you please freeze that charge?" Guess what happens?
Points, Jeff.
It's not it didn't come out of your pocket yet, right? There's a float, and you call them up, and they're like, "Oh, you got to wait till your next billing statement or whatever it is." Okay, well, I'm gonna issue a chargeback, or hey, that was fraudulent. I didn't make that charge. Now imagine you're running around using your XRP debit card, and there's all sorts of fraudulent charges on it, just like your debit card. Imagine you have fraudulent charges. Guess where those are coming out of your bank account?
Correct.
I'd rather go to a credit card. I want that buffer from a consumer perspective with all the fraud going on. Why would anybody want to directly use their cash card or their XRP card?
I use
interference.
Well, I use something called privacy.com, which allows me to connect, spin up a credit card. If I buy something, I spin up a credit card and it's hooked up to my bank. It's free because it's paid for. You can use it, but you spin up a credit card for a one-off type purchase, or I use a credit, but I don't like putting my credit card in places. If I buy a one-off somewhere, or if I want to test something out and it automatically opts you into subscription. Well, that credit card is only authorized for that purchase. They can never charge me again. So there's a lot of cool things you can do around privacy.com that allow you to spin up a one-use credit card only, and then it burns, right? And then it can never be used. And if anything does get compromised, it's done. And it's only allotted, I do the same thing with paying like utility bills. It's only allotted for a certain amount. And I had a scenario where my gym was charging me, if it didn't go a full 30 days, minimum 30 days, and they try to bill twice and within one time, it would reject the fee. And I'm like, why are you guys billing me not after every 30 days? They're like, oh, well, sometimes the billing. I'm like, no, that's because they would call me and there's something wrong with your credit card. No, it's a feature built in, so I don't get double charged within a period of time, right? So it offers all of that. I've been using it for, I don't know, 6-8 years, whatever. It's great.
It's really
I've never had an issue.
Yeah, you got to be smart on how you transact. And then there's other features depending on the credit card you use, like an Amex or whatever, and there's, different protection in like your rental car. You got to rent, you need a credit card to rent, but then it automatically has insurance,
Well, Jeff, can I tell you about how that works? So I had a little minor like incident with the thing, and they said, oh, you used the American Express. Okay, it's covered. Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is the kind of things where, they come in handy, but it's bigger than that. Amex, getting into lounges, points. There's so many things that people are like, oh, you pay a high fee. You get it all back. If you're going to use the card, you get that back and more, right? It pays for your fee, but the protections that Jeff is talking about. Jim D says, I bet Wendy O wish she had now X had a comment clawback for valueless comments.
It's called delete.
That's good.
And still delete it, right?
That's fantastic. Yeah. And then there's a lot of hubbub around DeepSeek. I'm really steeped in AI. I sell AI. I work with Gen AI. It's my whole life. I use AI every day, whether it's music, whether it's writing stuff, using stuff. I'm steeped in that. Agents. I'm all into AI. Like, I could do an AI podcast. Just there's enough data out there. But DeepSeek came out. It's from China. Interested in trying out DeepSeek AI, says Jeremy Hogan. I read DeepSeek's privacy policy, so you don't have to. The DeepSeek privacy policy is you don't have any privacy, none. It can
Yep.
collect anything, all information you have, share it with almost anyone. But don't worry, all of your info is shared safely somewhere in China where privacy is paramount. So before you ask something embarrassing like, is the XRPL really decentralized? Just remember, those words will be attached to you forever. Enjoy. And, you know, listen, Jeff, you talked a little bit before about China's strategy. What do? You release a model and you say, and you open source it. Now, if you take the open source code and you take that code and you take out all the filtering of the CCP that says, like, you know, ask about Tiananmen Square and ask about, you know, privacy rights in China, all that stuff that's been, if you remove all that, yes, you can use the model if you put it on your own computers, but you got to go scrub all the code and then you got to keep up with the updates, which is going to become a major hassle. Yeah, it's open source, but they're dumping it on over here. And do you think the timing was a little bit suspicious after Trump announces that he's going to spend billions of dollars of infrastructure to create, you know, nuclear power plants to be able to power, you know, AI facilities, and all of a sudden, conveniently, this gets dropped in the US and everybody's like, oh my gosh, and people are writing code and apps. I'm like, dude, that's just all that any intellectual property is gone. I mean, they're like, it's a fantastic model. I'm like, well, good, enjoy, because it'll log your IP address. It'll log everything you do, everything you think about. It's gonna log. So, Jeremy Hogan,
I saw it. It came up on the Play thing. I read an article about it. They didn't connect to China. Went to download it on the Play Store, and then I'm like, I gotta look in where'd this come from. Let me go and look where this came from. I'm like,
I knew it was China right away.
No, you know. But it popped up the way it popped up. It's like, oh, competing with ChatGPT, whatever, blah, blah. And so I wanted to see it. And so I go to down, and then that's when I was like, no. And it's crazy, right? China has had a massive campaign to invade our IP over here. Massive, on a scale that nobody realizes, right? Any of these products that we buy, whether they're TVs, whether they're cell phones, whether they're computers, if it's a Chinese product, meaning Chinese company product, there's a high probability that somehow its IP is being monitored, and there's a two-way communication going on, and they're siphoning data. A company just this past week was caught. They're a major manufacturer of patient monitoring that go into hospitals in the US. It's a Chinese manufacturer, and then there is an off brand from the same manufacturer under a different name. But they were caught this past week. The IP address of these products was somehow they blocked it so that the outbound traffic wasn't visible, and so they discovered that there was outbound traffic, and these monitoring devices were pulling data out of the hospital electronic medical record systems, and it was pulling data and feeding data back into a Chinese server, and they hid it from the company, and it was going into a Chinese server on a university campus in China. And all the monitors were doing it. And this is what, you know, we've been saying for a long time. You got to be very cognizant. These are the types of things they're up to, you know, whether it's government related or not. But the one thing that is known is that when a company reaches a certain point in China, it no longer is a private company. It then the government steps in and says, okay, we now have a seat at your company. And they then have a seat and a controlling interest in making decision, you know, at least directing decisions, because if you do something contrary to what they want, they're going to tell you otherwise. You can keep running the company, they do it, but it's very pervasive.
Yeah, you know? but Jeff, there's so much history around this DeepSeek that I don't buy. I didn't buy when I read it. I'm like, we trained it in 2 months, cost $6 million.
That's all just fake.
And of course there was like a leakage of that would run on 500 machines that were running NVIDIA, but they weren't the AI chips, they were the gaming chips. So you can run this on a gaming computer. First thing Elon Musk came on and said, I don't buy any of it either. I was like, yeah, because it's just, if it sounds too good, if it smells too good, something isn't right there. I mean, I'm not saying it can't be. The way they used the model, the shortcuts they took in the LLM and the training data,
Yep.
And then you have so-called experts that were able to, give their professional opinion. And I'm wondering if these professional opinions were paid, because it just sounded too much like they dumped in, and it's the greatest evolution ever. And I'm not buying it. Sorry, man. It's just not there.
Mark is going out to shovel driveways.
Good
Boots
for you,
are on.
man.
And we could be in his earbuds right now.
$5 a driveway, you can earn some money. Yeah, come on, dude. Listen to this look at this right here. Some more. There's just so much winning going on, Jeff. Pronouns to be removed from federal employees' email signatures. Employees across multiple federal departments were ordered to remove preferred pronouns from their email signatures by Friday afternoon following changes as a result of the two gender and diversity, equity, inclusion executive order signed by President Donald Trump. An internal memo obtained by multiple news sources said Friday that morning by Jason Bonner, the chief information officer at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, told employees at the public health agency the pronouns and any other information is not permitted in the policy and must be removed. And of course, Senator John Kennedy, who's great with the laughs, and we've got 3 successive videos here from the hearings from him. Here they are. They, them are now, was, were. There you go. He stole the thunder there. But there it is right there. They, them is now, was, and were. And like I've always said, my pronouns are, first one begins with F and the second one is you. So there's my pronouns. That's how easy it is. But I wanted to play these. Dang, that killed it, dude. He's ahead of you, Zober. It killed your fury. It killed me, man. You put it on the screen before I even had a chance to throw that up there.
I did.
Jeff, thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it.
He was a step ahead.
Yeah, he was a step. Well, maybe he's got internet. I don't know what he has there. Here's the first one here. So here's a couple of John Kennedy during the hearings that happened this week.
To be challenging the status quo. You're going to be called crazy. Many people also called Noah crazy. And then the rains came. And all the fact checkers died.
The guy looked up. See the guy behind him look up when he's
the fact checkers died. That was amazing. Yeah, that was great.
And all the fact checkers died.
Jeez. Thank God for John Kennedy, man. He is just an absolute delight. I mean, gosh, isn't he something great?
Identifies.
If you're not ticking off some people, you're not doing your job right.
He's right ahead of
My colleague and friend Senator Durbin called you a conspiracy theorist. You remember that?
I do, Senator.
You were instrumental in revealing that the Trump-Russia election collusion hoax was a hoax, weren't you?
Yes, sir. I was a lead investigator.
Sounds to me like we need to get some new conspiracy theories because all the old ones turned out to be true.
Facts matter, Senator.
Yeah. I mean, conspiracy theorists are up something like 37-0.
Did I put the video in there with Kennedy and Grassley?
I have it. That's the next one.
Mr. Chairman.
Before we go to Lee.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, what do you want?
I love this guy. Mr. Chairman, I'm unlike Senator Tillis. I mean, if we're going to start this, I want an extra 3 minutes.
Well,
now, my friend Senator Klobuchar went 3 minutes over.
So, here what you're saying is the chairman wasn't a very good chairman by not shutting her up. But I've gone through this before, and I think I know how to handle it. And
I think you're a star-spangled awesome chairman. I just want to say that for the record. But if you're going to let somebody over there go 3 minutes over, I want my extra 3 minutes.
Well, let's see if it's abused by anybody else before we make that decision.
I'm just telling you, I'm going to abuse it.
Well, I'm not going to let you abuse.
That was like somebody Somebody said these two need to star in the remake of Grumpy Old Men.
Right? Awesome.
He says, "I think you're Star Spangled Awesome." That was the greatest comment right there. These guys.
That guy comes up with stuff. He just.
I mean,
so much. I tell you what.
Do you want to see what happened behind the scenes of the hearing? Like what really happened at the hearing? I'm not gonna play the whole thing. I'll just play a little bit of it.
Did you accept money from Big Pharma?
You don't have to answer that.
I'll answer that.
You want answers?
I want the truth.
You can't handle the truth. I have a job that only pays $174,000. Who's gonna pay for my 3 mansions? You?
I ain't paying for your fucking mansions, dude.
You, Tulsi?
Oh, fuck no. Did you take the money?
You're goddamn right I did. Plus the $8 million from the morons who paid me $27 a piece.
What do you have to say for yourself?
That you look like the keynote speaker of a finger-smelling convention? Fuck yeah. You're a corrupt piece of shit.
Anyway, it gets a little bit vulgar.
Oh my God,
I'm like, who's making all these crazy memes, man? I mean, really, it's out of the control. Isn't it?
Dude, the whole thing with Bernie Sanders and RFK, and RFK just hammering him. And he was talking about the big pharma, and he's just like, I don't take money from big pharma.
It's in his disclosures.
And then finally, it was like, and then Bernie Sanders said, well, I don't take it from the CEOs of Big Pharma, only from the employees of Big Pharma. Well, that's how they siphoned all the money to you. And then they keep going back and forth. And then finally at the end, Bernie says, well, it was only $5 million out of 200 million. And he goes, let's go on to the next question. I'm like, so you just admitted it. So it's 5 million. He makes it now. He tries to belittle it. It was only $5 million that he took. Come on.
Yeah, and then he was mad that he this was the other part that I thought was funny, is like Bernie's like, yeah, you used to be part of this organization, and this is the merch they're selling on their website. It was these little onesies, unvaxxed, unafraid. So Bernie brought this in there about these onesies. I mean, like, dude, what is it? What? These people are unhinged. They're psychotic. You want to see the sighting of BG123 on the open waters? It's a sighting. Yeah. There's BG right on the top there with Periscope. That's sail for New Horizons right there, Jeff. I mean, it's going down, man. Let's see what else we have here. I want to show this one. Here we go. Here we have a little bit of that, what you were talking about.
And by the way, Bernie, the problem of corruption is not just in the federal agencies, it's in Congress too. Almost all the members of this panel are accepting, including yourself, are accepting millions of dollars from the pharmaceutical industry.
Oh,
protecting their interests.
Oh, I thought that would come. No. I ran for president like you. I got millions and millions of contributions. They did not come from the executives, not one nickel of PAC money from the pharmaceutical industry. They came from workers.
In 2020, you were the single largest
because I had
pharmaceutical
contributions from workers all over this country. Workers,
you were the
not a nickel from corporate tax.
You were the single largest acceptor of pharmaceutical dollars.
No, from workers in
1.5 million.
Yeah, out of 200 million. All right, but you have not answered. Last question. You have not answered my question.
He admits it at the end.
Well, he puts out he got zero money from pharmaceutical CEOs. Okay, well, that's not what was being said. I got zero money from workers. No, you did. Look at the disclosures. It's open disclosure. These people lied. Imagine that guy was running for president. I mean, I mean, there seems like so much mental illness on the left, Jeff. It just seems like it's out of control. It's at a pace. I want to play this Trump video here. Trump. Here we go. This is a good one right here. This is from the campaign, but I thought it was somebody was putting around social, but this is funny.
They're not struggling. This is the worst platform. Who put this stage up here? This is the worst. The frickin' place is falling down. I notice it keeps tilting further left. Like too many other things.
What a crappy contract.
It keeps tilting left. Who put this thing together? This is yeah, Trump. The one thing about Trump is funny. Like, so somebody, it was funny because Bill Maher even referenced this, but on the somebody had asked him and said, I mean, a horrible disaster, right? Mid-air collision, Black Hawk helicopter hits a passenger plane. It goes right into the water, the atomic, right? And one of the reporters said, "Are you going to visit the crash site?" He says, "The water? What am I going to do? Go swimming?" Like, it's because these people want to get these gotcha questions, want to make you look stupid. Oh, Trump said he was going to go visit the water. I mean, and even Bill Maher said that was just dumb. A lot of people do. Well, a lot of people do. I saw see a lot of chatter out there, but because you know what? But I'll tell you what's going to happen though, Caroline. He's going to influence. His influence is coming off. So the leader of the opposition party in Germany, I didn't play the speech. It's all in German, subtitles. A little bit hard to follow, but she was basically saying that if she's elected, she's closing the borders and she's getting people out of the country. She's basically deporting people. They're going back to sensible policies. And what does everybody else say? And including Elon Musk that supported them, they're the Nazi party because that works so well in the U.S. with these goofy lies that why wouldn't they use that, right? Jeff, what Yeti do we have to give away today?
So the Yeti that we're giving away today is, drum roll. Is it? Hang on. That's not a drum roll. There we go.
There it goes. Ooh, good timing there, Jeff. Impressive.
Ash Yeti. Look at that. That guy's pretty
nice.
bad. He just looks cool. These are cute. I love the Ash Yetis. Don't confuse them for the Fire Yetis, even though they exist in and around the fire, but you can tell the distinction. These guys are always dirty. They're always in and around the ash of the fire.
Yeah, they can't throw fire, but you see, he looks like he's got a little fire streak going through him. There's probably a fire Yeti in the background. That's the thing too, is like because they brown, but they don't burn. You see, like he's like running through fire. They don't burn. That's why they get all that ashy color.
The Fire Yetis can project out fire, so they're one with the fire. But these guys are badass in their own right. You can see kind of.
That's a good one, Jeff. I wish you know what the funny thing is, Jeff and I have zero badass Yetis. We don't even own one. We have none of them. We just give them all away. So I got none of them.
All of them. But these guys are cool. I love these guys.
Yeah, they're cool as hell. There's 24 guys. I'm going to give you a little bit. I'm going to play 2 more videos, but you got 24. Type in Yeti if you guys. But right now you have a 1 in 24 chance of winning. I want to play 2 videos back to back, and then we're going to go ahead and do the drawing. Here we go. This woman here, she's talking about. She gives a good sort of a good overview of legal versus illegal immigration. Let's go.
The press secretary was asked, how many of those illegal immigrants are criminals? She said, all of them. But we like straight up gangster, you heard me? So there's this dude who just want to hate. He's like, it's not criminal, it is civil. So they're all not criminals if they came into the country illegal. So I told him, cool. Let me pack my bag right now and go break into your house. And when you wake up in the morning, I'm going to be baking biscuits. And when you ask me what I'm doing there, I'm going to say, I broke in. Then when you get ready to call 911, I'm going to take the phone and I'm going to put it down. I'm going to say, what you calling 911 for? This is civil. And you going to say, I didn't invite you in, you broke in. And I'm going to say, you treat me like I'm a criminal. And you going to say, but you are a criminal. And I'm going to say, no, I'm not. Let's work this thing out civilly. And as the police dragging me off the jail, I'm going to holler, no justice, no peace. Yeah, it sounds ignorant, right? Because it is.
That's the best analogy I've heard in a long time right there. Breaking your house and then you turn the tables. There you go. I was waiting for the obligatory supportive comment. We haven't had it. And Jeff, look at this short right here.
Before the settlers arrived, one woman was chosen to lead her people. She fought for their survival. A legacy written in history.
See what that says? 1024th Native American.
They called her Pocahontas. But was she truly one of them? Pocahontas, The Warren Story. Coming soon in theaters.
The Warren Story. Dr. Clown.
Yeah, Dr. Clown is the best, man. Billy.
Oh my god.
That was so well made, so well done. I gotta love AI, especially when it's used for those type of purposes. All right, we've got 28 in there, guys. We're gonna go ahead and draw it. You got to be here to win. You know the drill. You got to say, "I'm here and I'm getting my Zaman wallet." If you don't have a Zaman wallet, and if you're not here, we go on to the next person. You know how it goes. You know the thing.
A lot of people here. So,
Let's
how many do we have registered?
We have 28 registered.
Come on, 2 more that registered yet with a Zaman wallet, and let's get this number to 30 so we can roll it at 30. How cool would that be?
Show on the roll. Can we get the show on the road? Let's go. Let's do it.
Laurel, do you register? Who hasn't registered yet? There we go, 29. We need one more.
that Warren video was absolute fire, man. That was great.
Did you see the other one?
Which one?
Chip, did you see the video? It came out, it was on X with the home people and the guests.
I don't think I saw that one. Can you dig it up for tomorrow?
I gotta see if I can find it.
Just see if you can dig it up for tomorrow. We'll use that tomorrow. It'd be great to play.
It was so perfect. How far down?
Roach says the only DNA she ever got was from a Native American accidentally farting in her general direction. So now we got 30 guys. We're ready to go. 30. Let's pull it. Ready? Here we go, guys. Remember, you got to say, "I'm here. I'm getting my wallet address." If we don't hear from you, we will draw again. You got to be present. Let's go.
Hang on. I got to put it up. Okay, ready?
Here we go. We're going. Matt LaRoche. Boom. Matt LaRoche wins. A YETI. There you go. Matt LaRoche is present. Matt, you got to say, "I'm here. Getting my wallet."
It's got to say, "I'm here."
Got to say,
and that's it.
So just look at this comment here. So I know there's a little bit of a delay. I think there's like a 18 second delay from the comments, but he probably jumped off right after that comment. He's gone.
He's gone. He's out someplace else.
I need to hear from you.
Is he here?
Boom. He said boom right there. Yeah, he's there. All right, get your wallet, dude. And we will congratulations to you. That is awesome.
No, I can't find it. I was doing something. I meant to grab it. It was the greatest thing. It was kind of like the dolls from what was that movie? America. Fuck yeah. What was that movie?
Which one are you thinking about, Jeff?
Yeah, the movie. Why can't I think of the name of the movie?
I don't know. What's the premise?
America. Fuck yeah. You know the song.
Not sure what you're talking about.
Someone knows it. Someone's gonna say, "I know that movie."
What was the song?
I'll tell you. I'm trying to find
Who's in the movie?
It was all dolls. You know what I'm talking about.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Jeff. No clue.
Someone knows what I'm talking about. I'm trying to find the video.
Chucky. Was it Chucky?
Can't believe I didn't grab it. It was so great. With the home people and the visitors.
No, man, I missed that one. Drink more coffee. Absolutely. 100%. Team America. That's what it was. It was the
yes.
It was the it was the puppet one with the guys from South Park made it.
Right.
Team America.
So there was a video that came out that was similar to that.
Okay. He gave his wallet. You got it, Jeff?
No, I do not have it. I gotta go on YouTube and find it.
Go on there and grab it. While we're doing that, I'm going to put this video. Trump signed an executive order banning all transgenders from the military, and this guy had a good take on why.
Trump just signed an executive order banning transgender people from the military. Let me tell you what this means. First of all, number one, and this is what a lot of people don't realize, there are upwards of 15,000 trans people that are serving, quote unquote, in the United States military right now. The first thing that I'm going to tell you is that all of these people are non-deployable. What that means is that if you are a transgender identified person that is quote unquote serving in the United States military right now, you are non-combat deployable. So these people cannot deploy to combat theaters. When the United States is involved in any sort of conflict overseas, transgender people literally cannot be deployed. What this means is that you've got a lot of people that are sucking up taxpayer funds, sitting in an office somewhere, maybe they're doing pack clerk work, etc., but they are non-combat deployable. This does not bode well for Pete Hegseth's mission of a lethal military. The second thing is that the vast majority of transgender people, when they separate from the United States military, do so by medically separating. This means that they are at 80 to 100% disability. And so now, what that means is that they are on the taxpayers, they're on the hook, taxpayers are on the hook, for $200,000 to $300,000 per year annually of quote unquote transgender healthcare, which is also covered by the VA. So every single transgender person that separates from the military via medical discharge is covered by the VA for their hormones or their whatever it is that the trans person is on, that is covered by the VA because they are medically separated. This costs American taxpayers to the tune upwards of 6 figures per person, all right? Third of all, gender dysphoria is a documented mental illness, which means that we have these people that are not only non-combat.
I'm not going to get into the whole thing, but I mean, the reason they're not deployable is because they're on hormones. You can't take hormones into a combat zone, right? And the only reason I'm keeping them to maybe, have the deeper voice or be more feminine is the massive amounts of hormones they have to take to be there. And so people thought this is a cruel thing, and it's not a cruel thing. It's just it comes down to, you have a military where people are deployable. You have to be able to deploy. And so you have people that are different, and they're going to get different treatment, special treatment, and never go to combat zones. And then they will live off, with the VA, the Veterans Administration, for the healthcare. So I thought he gave a very good take. It's a little bit long on that, but a really good take on why people are like, oh, I can't believe you're anti this. No, you go to the military to be deployable to a combat zone. If you're not deployable, you can't be in the military. It's as simple as that. It's not about being discriminatory.
That's right, Chip. Matt is now the proud owner of a badass Ash Yeti from the
Ash Yeti, dude. He's building that army. He's already got a bunch. And as you saw over there, he's already got in his
that now belongs to Matt. Matt,
beautiful.
That's your Ash Yeti.
You see that right there? He's got that guy right there. Look at that.
And he had a mentalist. Now you got the Ash Yeti. So now you've got one from the blue tribe, one from the white tribe. And the white tribe and blue tribe, they get along, because the got the blue tribe, they're like the standard. They're kind of like the Republic, right? They're not, they don't follow, they don't have elders, they work in a different way. They're more like, operating on our decentralized system. The white tribe operate under the elders. They have 7 elders, and they have support mechanism. They have to carry tribal lore and things like that. And the blue tribe operate a little different. The mentalists, those guys are pretty badass too. So a lot of times the different tribes come into conflict, different clans within the tribe, and that clan is the Ash Yeti clan right there. That's what you just got, Ash Yeti. Boom. You can have conflict in your wallet. Maybe you can get them to get along.
Well, listen, Jeff, we had a great time. Did an hour 23 today. I got an appointment that I got to run to, but
rigged.
Oh, come on, Zobert, stop it. It's an automated thing that's built into the platform. We have no idea how it works. But that's it. The people who come here often will get rewarded, and sometimes there are repeat winners. But again, it's just luck of the draw. The draw. That's how it works.
Nice.
F that. Right. Mike says F that. They should be the first ones deployed. XRP Community Day. Any comments on it? We played it. We played some stuff during the week. I think it's great that Ripple's getting out there and kind of going into the different, APEC region, North America, EMEA. Like I thought it was great. I like that they're out there communicating with the community again. I think they're well done. I thought there were some good things where we shared some of Brad Garlinghouse's comments. I saw a lot of good comments coming from David Schwartz. I think the involvement with the community is really a great idea. I'd love to see more of it. And I think ultimately just having real people answer, people from the community who aren't on a podcast, they're just regular people that have been supporters for, and they want to hear what's up with Ripple or Ripple's take on XRP or the RLUSD. I thought it was very well done. And I didn't get to listen to all of it. I saw a lot of snippets. People pulled out the better parts because I just don't have 4 or 5 hours to listen to solid stuff. And I mean, Jeff and I have show prep we do for this show, and it's only so much, and then the time it takes to do the shows, there's only so much time in a week that you can do, but I think it's a great idea.
We might do, which would be kind of cool, start taking a poll. We've talked about doing one of those X things to bring community members up to talk with each other. We got to do something like that in the future. We'll do a poll and see if people are down with that, and maybe a lot of people here in our own community just like sitting around and listening and chatting this way. But it'd be cool to bring some of these people up on stage and and have a good conversation with everybody that we have here with such great followers and supporters.
We have a community day where we bring people in, Jeff. I love that idea. And you can come in anonymously where you just show your name. You don't have to be on camera, but we can basically throw that in the chat, and people that want to come on, we'll do a community day where we just have our own XRP, our own OTC community day, and we'll have people come in, share a little bit, and again, it's just volunteer. And if you want to show your face, you can. If you don't, you can just be a voice on the other side. So we've been trying to get Jim D on this forever, so he can share all his insights.
And it's interesting as we wrap this up and we look at conspiratorial things, and eventually a lot of it comes out to be true. This is very interesting, to see what just happened with the helicopter and the FAA person. And just a week or two ago, they were talking about how they were flying a Black Hawk remotely with nobody in it. And, now all of a sudden this happens, and there was a near miss a week ago or the day before, similar kind of scenario. Something is amiss. Could it be just coincidental that accidents are accidents, inefficiencies are inefficiencies? And then we have a plane crash the following day where a jet falls out of the sky in Philly.
Did you see how did you see how violently, like, that almost looked like a missile the way it was traveling? It was crazy.
It came down so fast at the angle it came down. Maybe the engines just died out, but the lights were still on, obviously, because it looked like a missile.
But what was weird about it? It was a Cessna, but what was weird is that even like a plane that loses its thing wouldn't dive like that. They can still glide.
Yeah,
like something bad happened. I mean, something went wrong.
Just straight down.
Even if they have enough momentum and the engine quits, they get a little bit of they do a little bit of glide. They won't have the thrust, but that thing was moving. It was almost like somebody turned the engines and turned it down and just put it on full force. I mean, and it was sad because it was an ambulance plane which probably had a young child on it with one of their parents and then some other people. So it's just a sad thing. And seeing this back to back, I don't know. Sometimes, I mean, it just seems a little too timing wise, seems a little bit mysterious that we'd see something like that, but who knows? Appreciate you guys. Yeah. Thank you for rocking on the coffee, man. Hit the likes, guys, before you get out of here. If you're still here, please hit the like button. It does help. The machine. Caroline says something's not right with the crash. Too steep. Has Pentagon vibes. It was a missile. Seems weird. Yeah, something doesn't seem right there at all. Something's off. A necessary coincidence.
The same helo went after 3 others. Yep. It's just really bizarre. Just
not only that too, but
he's the pilot of the
aircraft was going to land on that plane was going to land on a different runway, and then they made him go to a different runway and circle back around to the other runway. It did a whole thing where it circled back to an alternate runway. If it had landed on another runway, would this have happened? Right. And it's a sad thing all the way around. But
you saw with Trump.
I fly a lot, Jeff. You fly a lot.
The helicopter was too high. It was flying too high. He goes, enough said.
supposed to be under 200 feet, right? That was flying too high. Once you lock on an approach, once you're coming in, a lot of that stuff is almost automatic until you get really close. So you lock in on an approach, and as that's coming down, people are like, "It should have seen it," but then you're like, you listen to the air traffic controller and like, "Do you see the plane? Hello?" And there was another one where they're trying to contact the plane. There was no response. It's just too much weird stuff going on here. Then everyone on the left is blaming Trump, saying, "You fired all the air traffic controllers." No, that was Reagan. No, he did not fire all the air traffic. By the way, Jeff, one time when I worked in Oregon, I said something about Reagan. Do you like Reagan? I go, you know what's crazy? Remember that time he fired all the air traffic controllers? And the guy goes, "Yeah, I remember. I was an air traffic controller at the time." I was like, "Oh, poorly timed. Oops." So, all right, everybody. We'll see you people on the next one. Chip and Jeff. Holy cow! We're out, but I can't even find the damn button, dude. Where is all this stuff?
They're staying for the next 3 hours. Chip finds the out. Then we're out. No,
we're out. Okay, here we go. Ready? Here we go. Ready? Chip and Jeff.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.